is excellent DJ. This is a work in progress chapter from Treasure Trails, Tricksters, and Teddies, a neuroqueer memoir.
Hell yeah.
What if conflict, contradiction, was a treasure map? Take this factual statement about my family. My uncle was a ballerina. Or another blurb about my uncle's brother. My father shot himself. Sure, there's missing context, but that's why you keep listening. For the next bit, phrase, word. I used to fantasize that my openly queer uncle was my real dad. Nature nurture helped the illusion because they were identical twins. And after my father shot himself, my pre-adolescent grief was a hollowing chasm, sandpaper on an open wound. So I indulged. I wanted to become my uncle's son through time travel or witchcraft or whatever relationship I could muster with the Catholic God of my upbringing, the God I later rejected for even hinting that I was a sinner. No, I was magic, just like my uncle. Thank Gaia. The twins' names were Bruce, my father, and Brent, my uncle. Kind of cute, kind of matchy-matchy, but this was 1951, and my grandparents were cis-hetero folks. Days or weeks after Bruce shot and killed himself, Brent moved back home, not to live with us, but back to Denver from New York City. Now there are some more clues. But who was born first? Such a cis-hetero patriarchal capitalist question. Of course my father was born first. Two halves out of one whole. So now you know the firstborn twin was the first to die. Poetic? The Trocadero is a drag ballet troupe, and Brent Mason was in the original company. Can you imagine what it meant to my 6-year-old non-binary heart and eyes and mind to see him on national TV dancing in a tutu and makeup and toe shoes with Shirley MacLaine in 1977. That single event was a buffer, the fertilizer of my own blossoming. My father shot himself, but not with a gun. Now you have a bit more context. We Masons are both fragile and strong, vulnerable and stubborn. I marvel that I have not become a full-time drag queen, at least not yet. In addition to tragedy and gay genetics, I also had Theda. Theda Mason, the twins' mother, was born Theda Thompson in Bogue, Kansas. Shortly after World War II, she met Charles Lawrence Mason, or as my mom later called him, Harry Larry. My grandpa's nickname for my grandma was Teddy. Larry and Teddy has a nice ring to it. I'm about to get to the why I did not become a full-time drag queen question now. Theda had very thin skin, especially around her earlobes. So she wore clip-on earrings. And she also had very fine hair, so she wore wigs. This was almost like a dream come true for me. And this was a time when polyester was cool. I only wish I had taken advantage of it. My father shot himself not with a gun, but with a syringe. Now you're getting warmer. Once a friend who is psychic did a reading. She said when she got in touch with my father's spirit, she saw sailboats inside of a bottle. I wonder what he saw in his last moments. Inside the syringe was cocaine and hot water, no sailboats. My mom, my brother, and I were the ones who found him. When the paramedics said my father could not be revived, I punched a brick wall. And then, somehow, at the age of 9, I took on the absurdly unfair, unrealistic task of replacing him as man of the fucking house. Shudder. Is it any wonder I go by they, them now? Masculinity set me up, knocked me down. But my Uncle Brent did all he could to save me, and it worked. Theater helped a lot too. College was also to be my escape. My uncle went to New York, I went to Santa Fe, New Mexico. 4 decades after graduating, I had a dream about Liza Minnelli. This is when I still thought I was a cis gay man. Later, in San Francisco, my friend Will Roscoe said that Liza was standing in for the goddess. Yes, she sure was. Thank you, Will, and thank you, Liza. In grad school, while reading the ancient Sumerian myth Inanna, I had a vision of a war cannon covered in moss. This reminded me of the famous image called Flower Power of a young idealistic protester putting daisies inside of gun barrels. That man moved to San Francisco, dropped acid, and became hibiscus. Any of you all heard of the Coquettes by chance? That was the company he co-founded. So here I am, another Mason, fragile, stubborn, strong. AA Mason, AA Ron. A cock-loving goddess worshiper who does not have to necessarily dress androgynously or change my body because my soul knows exactly who they are. And I keep carving away at my story, this story. Perhaps a few shards got into you. Fragments tend to reflect more anyway. I started this life as the union of one of the twins' glittery purple leisure suit wearing sperm and my mom's disco ball egg. I was not merely born this way, I was predestined. And they said it was good. Amen.
Aaron Mason.